I am compelled to express my views, as I often am, about this particular issue in relation to the program produced by the ABC that was released last week, which was Always Was Tonight. Now, I've spoken about this before, and I raised it as an issue because of the criticism it got from Sky News. But that criticism has now weaved its illustrious way into the Liberal Party, who have now issued a complaint to the ABC Managing Director about the program. Now, there's a degree of hypocrisy around all of this. So it appears that if you are white and liberal and sit on the right wing of politics, such as Sky News and other right-wing media outlets, you can, I guess, say whatever you like about Indigenous people, Indigenous issues, do what Andrew Bolt does, which is just criticise them incessantly. So you can do all those things if you're sitting on the right wing. But if you're sitting on the left or in the moderate area, and you are the ABC in particular, which is supposed to be totally neutral, of course, that is a no-go zone. That you cannot offer criticism of the other side, the right, if you are sitting in the middle and if you're the ABC. So the Liberal Party have decided that they're going to take issue with this program because it told the truth about Indigenous affairs and how they were being presented generally, and it gave an Indigenous perspective around all of that, which I think is more than fair, and that we should take note of. And I'm not going to take on the position. There's one particular character in this who was a white person who kept on interrupting a conversation that's supposed to be taken with an Indigenous person who was an academic. And she kept on interrupting, and she kept on saying, yes, I understand. This is what I believe, blah, blah, blah. And she was this white person, and which is so true of so many white people. And I don't want to get into that space where I become that white person jumping in and talking about Indigenous issues which I have never experienced, don't know what it's like to be racially vilified, and so on. So I'm not going to buy into that at all. I can have views about or a clarity, I guess, around what's fair and equitable for Indigenous people. I get all of that, but I can't speak for them. But what I can speak for is the hypocrisy that we see from the Liberal Party, who are complaining about this Tony Armstrong's satirical view of Indigenous issues and the way the white Australians respond to them, and also presenting the facts, which was important, I thought, in this program as well. So Melissa McIntosh, who claims Always Was Tonight, violated ABC Charter, has been dubbed the Liberty Party Fun Police by the Greens. Now, I do need to say that the Sky News don't have a charter that they operate on, or even a set of principles that they think are valid and coherent and I guess meeting social standards to some extent. So they don't have what the ABC has, because the ABC uses your and my money in order to fund them. And the Liberal Party object to that greatly, particularly when they take a view that is counter to their own. And this isn't, media is full of contradictions. And the ABC is no different from anyone else. And that if you believe that the ABC can't produce a program which is designed to inform and is humorous and is there to provide a comedic response to the issues of the day, then why have the ABC? Why do present all the stuff that they present on iView? Why do anything at all? Why not just be bland, uninteresting, friggin' boring, right? The ABC isn't that. The ABC has a variety of programs for everybody. So But in this particular instance, the Liberal Party have become particularly distressed by what has been presented. The opposition has complained to the ABC over Tony Armstrong's one-off special, which took aim at colonialisation and racism against Indigenous Australians. The Shadow Communication Minister, Melissa McIntosh, has sent a letter of complaint to the ABC Managing Director, Hugh Marks, demanding a full investigation into Always Was Tonight, a satirical news program that aired at the broadcast on the 21st of January. The complaint claims the content of the show may have breached the ABC's content, broadcasting and editorial responsibilities. The ABC has an important duty as a trusted public institution to protect our multiculturalism, promote social cohesion, and not seek to broadcast content that divides our nation. And here we have it. It's not like the Liberal Party are hell-bent on dividing our nation just by themselves, just by not being able to be a party of opposition, but a divided train wreck, basically. So they are the most divisive organisation on this planet, apart from One Nation, I guess. They kind of sit together. But nevertheless, they are supposed to promote social cohesion. So you have this standard where social cohesion is supposed to be really important, and I agree that it is. But does that mean that you can't present other ideas that are challenging, I guess, the status quo? Can't you present ideas that are different? Can't you have a debate about them? It would be better for people to have said, I hear what Tony Armstrong was talking about. I thought the comedy was interesting, and I thought it was quite funny. But let's have a conversation about incarceration rates of children, for example, which is really what this show was trying to highlight. So, in the light of the horrors, this is a quote from her, in the light of the horrors that have been confronted, Australians over the last month from the Bondi arrest attack, now more than ever, we cannot tolerate offensive content which strokes further division. So under the Public Broadcaster Charter, the ABC must inform and entertain the community. Okay. Must inform and entertain the community, reflect cultural diversity and contribute to a sense of national identity. There is nothing in the Charter that requires the broadcaster to promote social cohesion, says the ABC. But McIntosh's complaint says the ABC has a responsibility to editorially justify any content that is likely to cause harm or offence and must label that content appropriately. So, they're distressed because they feel confronted by some of the things that were presented on the program. Oh, you poor souls, I do feel for you. You must be feeling absolutely white. And you must be feeling probably guilty for some of the things that your ancestors might have done, or for the history that is abusive of Indigenous people. So, as a result of the way they're feeling, then they, of course, therefore, if they're feeling disrupted, if they're feeling uncomfortable, if they're feeling fearful, then clearly under the new legislation, you probably have a reason to be able to file for under the new hate speech legislation. So it goes on to say, she also said the ABC had a duty of care to minors involved in the commissioning and creation of content. So this is where they show they have a song, which is I Shouldn't Call This Place Home, is what they call it, which is Peter Allen's anthem, I Still Call Australia Home. So they've based it on all of that. And they're saying that we have to be careful about what it is that we do in terms of working with children. So this is the way that the governments kind of, I guess, have responded. The opposition's Indigenous Affairs spokesperson, Kerry Little, told the Guardian she chose not to watch the program. Pardon me, this is the Indigenous person. So this is where they're talking about Indigenous and having these kids who put a spit hood on, which is the way kids are treated, Indigenous kids and others are treated, particularly in the Northern Territory. Issues for Indigenous Australians must be treated with the utmost seriousness, she said. Nothing about these issues is funny. An ABC spokesperson said, always was tonight sought to examine Indigenous Australians' lived experiences through satire, social observation and comedy. Fair enough. This is what comedy is about. Wake up to yourselves, Liberal Party. The program was creative, insightful and sometimes challenging, the spokesperson said in a statement to The Guardian. It sought not to divide, but to highlight the perspectives of Indigenous Australians to contribute to a shared understanding. The ABC said the safety, well-being and protection of the children actors involved in the show were treated with the utmost seriousness. Careful and responsible steps were taken to ensure that children and their guardians were fully informed, supported and protected throughout the production, with a clear duty of care upheld at every stage. An Indigenous psychologist was present and the shoot was registered with New South Wales Office of the Children's Guardian. Communication, Mr. Annika Wells was contacted for comment and didn't comment on any of this. So it intrigues me that the Liberal Party, the right-wing media, Sky News, have got themselves tied up in a knot over this one program. So what does this tell us? I guess it tells us that they cannot be confronted, or they refuse to accept that there are issues which exist for Indigenous people for which they feel guilty about as white people. So, and I must confess, when I first started to watch this program, I was taken aback a little because I was reminded of the things that are associated with colonisation, particularly the slaughter, the attempt to wipe out First Nations people. It was horrible. It was horrible. It was done in a comedic way, but it hit the point home that our history is not necessarily a good one around Indigenous people. And it seems to me that the right wing are fearful of confronting that because it tells some truths about them and their beliefs. If we believe and we are able to associate, to understand the things that were done towards Indigenous people, if we were able to accept the truths about them, the truth-telling, I guess, that sits around all of that, and acknowledge that it happened, then we can feel better about being Australians. But if you want to hide from it, if you want to feel guilty about it or ashamed of it because you're a white person, then clearly you have failed to accept what happened to First Nations people, I reckon. And we need to understand what the experience have been like and how they play out, how colonialisation plays out today for many of these people. It is important, and we need to accept it, and we need to ensure that we do the best we can to change those experiences so they just don't keep cycling through generation after generation. Let me know what you think about all of that in the comment section below. Remember to subscribe to my channel. Ring the bell for further notifications. Do what you need to do. I'd love to hear from you in the comment section below. Take care.